I want to scale things down. We talk a lot about big projects around here, particularly when we're talking about this infrastructure bill. I want to make sure that some of our smaller infrastructure projects that are so key to a very small local economy that they don't get lost in the backwash of all this activity. I raised the issue of Section 107, the small navigation programs, great fit for small communities in my state that are looking to construct these small harbors or breakwaters without having to wait years for WRDA authorization. Is there any reason that the Corps never requests funding for this program in its budget? I mean, I know that we have projects that are waiting for funding under this authority, but it just seems that we're just not moving forward with that initiative. General?
So, Senator, all of the requirements that we have, billions of dollars, we put forward. And so those requirements and the capabilities of those requirements continue to be outlined. There's two specific ones you're talking about. There is a component of the Harbor Trust Fund that is for 10% for small emerging harbors.
Right.
And so we always try to make sure we have that fenced bin of money to be able to compete for exactly what you're talking about. Those have the ability to be able to get those. The other thing that's specifically in your area, though, is the remote and subsistence harbors. That's the 2006 justification. And that's another one where there's not a set aside, though. Mm-hmm. So those don't come out of that 10% of that fenced amount of money. Those do have to compete. There's two of them you've got right now, Craig Harbor and Little Domini, that I think are authorized for the funding, but those, unfortunately, as to where they're at, don't have any plus-up justification to be able to bring them up high enough on the funding line. Now, if you want to jump in, sir, but basically, we put the requirement forward, but the question is when you rack and stack those don't have a special ability to be able to qualify for a higher level of funding.
Well, and whether it's the Section 107 or whether it's, as you point out, the opportunities for our small and remote subsistence harbors, we would like the Corps to be able to exercise this discretion that we were trying to give you in last year's language to take into account the regional benefit that then comes when you are able to put in like the dock that we're talking about in Amonic, very small, but the economic benefit to that region is really quite extraordinary. So I guess the ask is for you to consider supporting funding specifically for building these remote or subsistence harbors to match the general investigation funds. Is that an approach that we could work through?
Senator, aside from the benefit cost ratio, I agree with you. We will give equal and every opportunity to look at the site-specific problems that these communities are facing. General Semonite hit the nail on the head. We've got two recent projects that were authorized, Craig Harbor, Alaska, and of course Little Diomede. Getting them over the bar as far as their ability to compete is on us. That is what is our job, to work within the administration and work with Congress. So your point is well taken.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate a little extra time. Sometimes it's again these very small projects. We get carried away with the big things, but you've mentioned a couple projects from your state that probably aren't making the front page of major newspapers, but for the economic impact to your region, they're quite considerable. So as we look to how we deal with infrastructure in this country, I sure hope that we don't lose sight of these small regional drivers, because it does make a difference. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.